Hello, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're well. I am Nim and I am writing. Hello, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well. Today I am comparing a free pattern and a paid for pattern. It's my first paid for pattern. I'm really leveling up this year. I love it. And I've got some exciting news. The yarn finally arrived. Oh, I have 15 balls of one yarn. I hope that's two different colours. It's come a few days late, but that's not Hobby's fault. That's Royal Mail for telling me it's gonna be here on Saturday. So I stayed in for a bit longer than I should have, and then it didn't come, and it was like 6 hours after it was meant to arrive, because it was meant to come straight from Heathrow to my house, which is quite like jet setter of the yarn. I love it. But like it would have been missing out the sorting office and then my post office, and then like the postman who would bring it to me. But now it's here, and he was very friendly, and there's a few different people that deliver. Like you can get anyone to deliver, right? There's so many companies, but the Royal Mail, there's a few Royal Mail people that deliver here, and they're all very sweet. I'm gonna unbox my first unboxing. Right off the back, I love how you're just straight in, and here's your yarn. Here's an off-white that I picked, so I'm doing a Lydia Morrow pattern. And oh my god, they're so cute. They're baby. This is why I was like, oh my god, it's so cheap. Which, like, it wasn't bad, but it smells interesting. It smells kind of fruity. I'm doing this. I'm doing sort of like a, oh, it actually does. I didn't try this on my skin before because I got it online, but it even matches. I'm already wearing something to match. And also this, I'm wearing a Campbell's soup top that I got from Uniqlo, from the kids section. I love it. Was a size 13. I think it's their biggest size, because the small and the adults wasn't that small. It was sort of like a boxy fit. I usually get t-shirts from the men's because they're fun. I'm also 6 foot tall, so my first impressions are soft. Reminds me of the Sostrine green yarn. I think that's how you say it. Happy. But yeah, so and here's the third colour. So yeah, these look so good. These looked really good on Lydia, on like the model pictures of the item that I'm buying, and I was also looking, our skin tone seems to be fairly similar, so that was useful. I finally bought stitch markers. These were really reasonably priced because I'm an absolute fiend for not spending money when I don't have to, hence my £1 yarn top that I don't like. But I think now I know about cotton, I'm just going to knit more with cotton. So I'm really happy with the colours. I also got this, it's Friends Kids Silk, and it's 72% mohair. I basically just got influenced by YouTube, what can I say? That's why I'm here. I was influenced into making these videos too. Also, it's just been really fun, all the comments. I also make little TikTok videos, and it's so, oh, which reminds me, I need to do a little TikTok recording of this unboxing too. My phone's right below you, although I'm not recording on it yet. But I've never knit something from mohair before, and my first impressions of touching it, I did touch it for the first time in John Lewis last week, but very thin thread. Can you see that? I'm just checking in the focus. It's like me telling myself to focus. Not happening. Is this what people do? Oh, you know what? We're not there. We're not there in the YouTube journey yet. We're still under 100 subs. But yeah, very fluffy. Isn't that? I don't know if it's like other people's necks the most sensitive, or necks are generally more sensitive. Here, it was fine on my arm. It's ever so itchy on my neck, but it wouldn't come far. It'd come up to like here. It's a bit weird to do. This t-shirt was a bit too high for it. I think the pattern comes up to about here, sort of a boat neck type thing. I'm so scared of getting any sort of like foundation-y stuff on this top. I'm so scared of getting any foundation-y stuff on this top because it looks so sad when that happens. So this is going to be my free pattern, and it's literally just very simple. I think it's a top-down knit, which I also haven't done. I've only ever knit, tell a lie, I've done one cardigan in 2021 for a friend who I saw yesterday, and we were in Urban Outfitters, and she was like, this is like what you knit me, and I was like, that was so sweet. That's why you do it. That's why you do it. Do it for the fans. So this is one top, and this is going to be another top. I also have to buy embroidery yarn for this, which I didn't buy online. I'm thinking of doing it in black because that's what the pattern has, and for my first pattern I don't really want to go too off into my own doodally land. I'm not that good at colour mixing yet, but I love this combo. I think that the orange is so bright that's really picking up nicely. It's a bit more red in real life, but this mustard and this off-white, the pattern specified to go for an off-white for that more vintage feel, and I think that definitely was a win. And yeah, so the difference, if I'm going to compare them, I think this is going to be a lot easier direct to skin, just simply because it's a cotton. I don't know if it's 100%. Yeah, it's 100% cotton. It's the Friends Cotton 86. Hello. How does one focus something? There we go. There we go. The Cotton 86, and it is 100% cotton. I think that's going to be backwards. And this is mohair. No, it's upside down. Basically, this is the free pattern, and this is the paid for pattern, and I want to have a look at some similarities and differences because I've never really bothered to pay for a pattern before, usually because I try and knit on an absolute budget. But if, as my like vision and I don't know, what I want from life is slowly changing away from the busy city life to more slow. I just want like my life to be like a big dog walk on the beach. So that being said, is an obvious metaphor for buying patterns. Yeah, so I'm going to be, because this pattern is already like 3 pages long, this one I don't think it is, but this one is like, it's like written, it's like paragraphs, but like not in a like a English GCSE way, in a fun way, in a way that it tells you how to measure your body in a very non-judgmental, just this is life, baby, which I really like. I really like sort of like moving away from clothes sizes, even though like this, like I'm wearing a kid's top, which is like super fun, but that's not accessible to everyone, so that's not fun. But like if I could take this and put it onto another t-shirt, great, doesn't matter what size you are, because if you know what to do, you can merge around, which is why I love modern patterns. Versus, I think what I'm going to find with free patterns is that there's less of a range, which just means realistically less people are going to get something out of that. So that's it for the unboxing. I'm going to have a little look at the pattern. I have to go to the dentist now, so I'll probably be back a bit later. I've also got a top that I'm doing another Rebecca top, which I'm making a separate project vlog on, which I think will be out after this one. So yeah, anyway, stay tuned to see how I get on. Also subscribe, because then I can do more knitting and show more fun things. I am back. It's a couple of months later, and I have 2 things that I really want to share with you. First of all, she's not quite done. She's done. The knitting is done. This is the Jeepers jersey, what Lydia made. I am working on the duplicate stitch. More on that later. And here is my mohair sweetheart, which I think she's just absolutely gorgeous. You'll notice that she's pretty see-through. On my skin, it's all kind of blends, so it's fine. But let's get into how the 2 patterns, the free and the paid for, how I got on with them. Hopefully that stays. Hopefully that doesn't fall. Just to recap, I tried a free pattern and a paid for pattern, and I wanted to see, is there a point in paying for patterns, which I've recently worked with a designer on a test knit, and yeah, there is, they're fantastic. But can we make this more accessible? Because what I want, I'm trying to move away from fast fashion. That's a really bold thing to do when I don't really have any disposable income. So I'm looking at cheaper yarns, I really like cottons. I have very sensitive skin, so how can I balance budget, sensitivity, and make something that's going to work out for me? Also, considering time frames and how much time I actually have to knit is challenging. Comparing them in a light, fun way. Basically, just sort of seeing like what's the best of both of them. What's the best of the free, what's the best of the paid for pattern, the sort of like value for money, and also how sustainable, because like using a few free patterns every month, if you're knitting like 3 things in a month, go you. If one of them you could pay £7 for a pattern, the other 2 free, that's great, that's great. Anyway, I also just really enjoyed doing both of them. I think having one that was more complex, so the jersey was a little more complex, it taught me a few techniques, like when you knit back into the seam, so it's a nice cuff at the bottom. Cuff's the wrong word, I think, but this is why we're here learning. Hello loud neighbours. I would say that having the 2 on the go at the same time was, I really enjoyed it, because I had one that was very sort of simple, bog standard, the raglan, my first raglan, but it was fairly simple construction, so, and that was just stockinette all the way through, which I love the look of, and also because it's a single strand mohair, they're sort of like slightly misshapen, which I really like. That was a really sort of like, you don't have to think too much about it, apart from a few things which kept it interesting. And I learned a load of techniques on the other one, which is really cool, and I still have yet to learn how to put a little zip in, which I think I'm gonna use that technique, and that's something I've already done, and maybe do a petite knit pattern for a friend, or just something like really like just a standard jumper. That's all I want. I've like given a few sweaters away recently, and I want to replace them with something that I've made. Can't see, but my hair is really long now. Like it's grown in length since knitting these. So the paid for pattern, you can get it at 50% off, you can get it a third off. It's £15 to start off with. I think that's pretty good value for money. And I love how there's, not only is there I think 11 sizes, and you can make the hip size different, you can make the bust size different, and then thus make the waist size different. I think that's such a fantastic way that everyone can get something out of it, no matter your size. And also that it's financially accessible to more people, maybe not everyone, because £7 is still £7. I like how the designer has thought of a lot of people, and I would say that's something different. The pattern, the free pattern, only went up. It was small to I think extra large, and I think I knit it in a large or extra large, I can't quite remember. With the free pattern though, I think because there's 5 sizes, I thought that there's enough information on the raglan, and there's something I want to get into this year, is like taking a pattern that's not my size, like something from the 30s or 40s, and extrapolating it up. So I think you could do a few more raglan stitches, make the increases more, and then wider and longer. But I think that that's a larger garment isn't just that, it needs to be taken into consideration. But I think there's enough in the pattern that you could do something with it. I'd say that the paid for pattern also 35 pages. Now that a lot of love has gone into that. In those graphic design, there's like 5 or 6 people that came together to make the pattern a thing. So already you're thinking about who's that going to pay or compensate for their time and work, and I really like that. Whereas the free pattern just has one name attached to it. To compare those things to, I would say if you are a less experienced knitter, I'd say the jersey was quite challenging. So I've been knitting, people ask me how long, like I've knit on and off, seriously, I want to say since about last October, but that a lot, like the first few months of that was just sort of like fumbling around, not really knowing much about yarns, which is fine, but now I've knit some stuff that I don't really like now, which I guess is some of it, but I'd say like I got good at the beginning of this year, like something that I'd be proud to wear. Still I wear something I'm like, ew, I made that, I don't want to wear it, but we're getting over it, we're getting over that. I'd say if you're a beginner, the raglan, the mohair raglan would be great. It's slightly sensitive on my hands. I would say knitting with mohair, it's taught me that I need to have my hands kind of like not dry and not too moist. So I can deal with mohair, but in a very small range of physical circumstances. And I tend to knit that one on like the way to work and stuff and on the go. And that could be challenging. Also the way the ball unravelled as you're working with it is not that easy to take on the go, because it would sort of like fall out of my bag or like have a mind of its own, where knitting with a cotton in like those similar situations, a finer cotton, I didn't have those issues, even though this mohair was super fine. And if you like, I'd say both patterns, the free pattern was fine. It's still like written out. But if you want it really detailed, almost like you're reading a paragraph, the paid for pattern is like this 35 pages, and you've got diagrams and you've got visuals, which I find really useful. Like where the colours go and where sort of like where there's a band of colour around the bust, where that sits, because I was able to amend it. So this, I was meant to do 120 rows of the yellow. I only ended up doing 100. But it's more than long enough for me. It's still sort of like the same oversized fit. So I don't know if I was knitting particularly loose. I was actually knitting continental when I normally knit English. Let me show you the difference. So proud of this. This is sort of like my normal. Oh yeah, this is my tension on English knitting, and then it's not bad. I mean, I kind of like it for this, but this is continental, so slightly less regular. You can sort of see a bit of more of the stitch. I don't know, see a bit more of her. It took a while for me to knit it, so I've forgotten that I was trying to up my knitting continentally skills. And I would say that I had quite a lot of strain here when I was knitting English, because I do sort of like tend to knit like this. I also played the cello, which is the way you sort of like hold the bow like this. It's like I'm back at teaching. The way you have tension and ease, to me, doesn't really fit in with knitting, so it's sort of like a problem that I have, kind of for a cool reason, but it seems to exacerbate it a lot. And I'd say since knitting continentally, at least I'm sort of like transferring some of the tension into this one, so once I've got the tension equally split over the two styles, I'll be able to switch quite easily. I would say something that two things I can take away from this is, one of them is that the free patterns are fantastic, and they sort of give you a bit more like, oh, I can try something weird. Like I did feel with the paid for pattern, like I wanted to just reproduce what I was buying. Like I was going into a shop buying a garment that I was going to make, but I was buying something. Rather with the free pattern, I changed it up a little bit. I was meant to do it with 2 strands of mohair. I did it with 1 because I didn't read that properly, because you're meant to do 2 of like very similar colour, which I love that idea. I'm now doing it on another project, but I think there's more room for freedom in a free pattern, because I'm like, well, I don't have anything, there's nothing to lose, I can just give up if I don't like it. And I don't think I'd give up on a paid for pattern, so I think like it's mostly the me psychology rather than either of the patterns themselves. The 2 things I'd take away, just for clarity, would be if I want to do something more extravagant, more sort of like me, I don't know, going away from whatever's happening on the pattern, I would go for a free one, or like a couple of free ones, try and learn from them. And another thing would be to continue doing what I've done with this, maybe have a free pattern on the go and a paid for pattern on the go. I think now I've got, and I also had a test knit on the go as well at the same time, which is fun. I've now got 2 paid for patterns on the go, and it's kind of making me feel a bit like a lot's at stake, even though one was £8 and one was £7, so £15. That's, I mean, it adds up, right? Like I just spent money on the other one. I don't know, I think spending money on it when I know that I could maybe have a workaround is a little bit challenging, but I do want to keep up with some trends. I would love to know what you all think about free or paid for patterns. Do you do a similar sort of thing? I feel like that's the best case scenario, just using whatever out there. And when you can, going for a paid pattern, I'd love to support more designers, because I watch a bunch of you on here and I love it. And if anyone wants a test knitter, I got compliments from the last person I test knitted for, so yeah, and I'll yap about it on YouTube, so you'll get lots of free marketing. I would love to know, are there any amazing free patterns that are maybe like a little bit more detailed than you'd expect, or they're just, you found something particularly trendy or unusual, or something even like just like a standard cable knit. I'm sort of thinking like a cricket jumper, cricket sweater, you can't say cricket sweater, cricket, it has to be jumper for cricket. I want to do one of those in a brown next, after I've knit everything I'm wearing. I'm just imagining the future, even though it's not going to be cricket white, but an off-white maybe too, that would be cute. Very collegiate, I do like collegiate things. Let me tell you my favourite thing about this. The collar, look at that. Hello, there we go. I'm blurry. That's unreal, and you knit it back into the collar, so it's quite a clean seam as well. I don't think it's happening this time. Do you like the cherries on my nails? Okay, I tried. It's getting better every time. Have you tried any amazing patterns? And on the flip side, not to be pessimistic, and don't name anyone or name any specific patterns, but is there anything that you've got from a pattern where you're like, oh, actually I paid for this and I wouldn't pay for it again? What are those reasons? Like, was it not like up to scratch for a paid for pattern? I've seen a lot of people sort of maybe like be quite critical of newer designers, but which we don't need to exacerbate criticism, but what would make you feel let down from a paid for pattern? Wondering about the future for myself, maybe. But yeah, if you liked hanging out with me, chatting, knitting, I'm over on Instagram and TikTok at Nim on the small screen. I'm Nim on the small screen, soon to be on the big screen, maybe one day, who knows. But I post daily on TikTok and I shove whatever I want over on Instagram. There's more sort of like finished items on Instagram. Right now there's the test knit that I've just done, which I can make another video if people want. But yeah, come hang out with me there, please. I'm also like been added to a Discord recently about knitting. It's so much fun. You can find me in a lot of places. I would definitely go back to where I found like hobbies, free patterns, and also find like digging into Ravelry, actually doing a big dig, and also going on Reddit. And what I wanted was designers that are specifically for people like that you can alter the bust size, because I find that with like I have 3 different sizes at bust, hip and waist, and I would like something that could just fit me a lot better. So I think knowing more about what I want is how I can pick the next great pattern. So I am gonna edit this, get this out, and then sneak peek to what's next. Isn't this? Oh, I haven't felt this yet. Oh, this isn't for me, so it doesn't matter. Made in Peru. My best friend's from Peru. These are going together for the next one. So if you wanna hang around, you know what to do.